Thanks for joining us here again on ITY. I'm with Angelo Tilocca. He is the General Manager of NewZulu in the Asia Pacific. And this series is normally with top executives from media and IT companies, and this is no different. NewZulu is a crowdsourced photo and video content company that supplies content to publishers, broadcasters and creative agencies. But probably best to say, g'day Angelo, and please tell us what NewZulu is all about.
Thanks Alex, appreciate the opportunity. So NewZulu, as you quite rightly pointed out, we are a crowdsourced media company where we provide the opportunity for users, citizens, freelancers, professionals, and also organisations in their own right to utilise our platform to capture content, to manage that content, and then deliver that content.
And monetize it.
And obviously monetize it, correct. And part of that process is and a key difference is the validation of that. So there's an editorial function there which sets us apart.
Yeah, because I mean in the past people were just posting stuff to Facebook, or at the bottom of news stories from the major news organisations you would often see, please text us or MMS us videos or stories, and you might do that and then never hear from those people again and your video's gone viral.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the organisation that's asking for that, there is an overhead of managing that, and how do you do that in a streamlined manner? And also, how do you know that the actual content that you received is an actual event? It hasn't been photoshopped or manufactured somehow. And
you were saying that you're obviously analysing all the videos, and if you see something's been photoshopped, that helps to disqualify it.
Well, absolutely. Well, so part of our platform and what we offer,
value proposition,
the value proposition is that our platform has been built by a media organisation for media organisations.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a process there, and there were tens of millions of euros invested by Agence France Presse, AFP, one of the world's largest and oldest news agencies, to develop this process.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even to date, we are still the only third-party content source that goes into their editorial system and into their sales system without one of their people touching, because they've built the process and that relation. By virtue of that, we've had other global media organisations partnering with us, and locally AAP is our partner here.
Sure, and we'll go through that a bit later on with the new relationship you have with them. Now, as we're filming, sadly, over the past 24 hours, we've had the siege in Sydney. And I mean, in a sad way, I mean, this has been an example of how NewZulu and its platform can deliver content to news organisations. On the website, I had a look before, newzulu.com. You can see there's clips of all sorts of things, and there are obviously people. newzulu.com.au, and there was people there that were filming, and so I'm sure as a general manager you don't know all the fine details of what's been sold, but I mean, what sort of activity were you seeing yesterday?
Well, we had a lot of contributions. We got over 1,000 contributors here in Australia, 150,000 globally.
Yeah.
We're still fairly in a startup phase here in Australia.
Yeah.
And so we have had a lot of contributions, video and images. And again this morning, where people are downloading our app and uploading content to us. Now, part of that will be distributed through AAP into their across their media organisations and their partners and clients. So globally, between AAP and AFP and PA and Canadian Press, they reach over 8,000 clients.
Yeah.
So from a message to a contributor is that you stand a better chance when you contribute content through us to getting it actually delivered. So they're getting published, getting paid, sort of mantra that we talk about. We are fulfilling that by virtue of these media relationships. And
because, as we were saying before, if you just publish it to Facebook and it goes viral, you won't get anything out of that if you were hoping to earn something from it.
No.
So can you give us a bit more, I know you've already explained it in brief, but how exactly does your platform work? What gets published and what does getting paid entail? Like how much would somebody get paid? And you have a story of the Michael Schumacher thing where someone got a lot of euros.
So look, from a process perspective, you would download the app, and there's different versions in different countries.
Yep.
You download the app, you register yourself, and then you would take a photo or a video and upload it to us. And several photos or videos, and upload it. That goes into our editorial system. And our editors, and we have editors all around the world, there's about 60 or 70 of those, and different bureaus, they go through a very rigorous process to ensure that the content is
legitimate.
Yep. The event is legitimate.
Yep.
And there hasn't been any sort of photoshopping. So we like to describe it as a 10-step process. The first 5 is technology, and then the next 5 is human.
Right.
And then if you're a regular contributor, you build up points and trust rating. So there's part of the back end system. There's gamification.
Yeah.
Again, you can roll it out, and that's a big appeal for a lot of our clients who are using the platform in their own right to reach their own audiences. So it's not just about us going direct. We have clients that actually license our platform and then use it to engage their own audiences.
Engage readers.
Yeah. Rather than doing, as you said earlier, hey, send us your SMS this photo or email us this photo. That is pretty old hat and low tech and doesn't allow for scalability.
Yeah, yeah. And so, so what percentage do people get paid?
Well, it's very simple. It's a 50-50 split.
Yep.
After the sales commission from one of our partners.
Sure. And one example was the Schumacher.
So Schumacher was an interesting example. Again, because by virtue of the origins of the platform that AFP had built at Paris. So this gentleman was skiing on the slopes and saw a helicopter come down and said, "Oh, this is a bit strange."
Yeah.
The helicopter's coming. Didn't know it was Schumacher.
Yeah.
But took video of it. And then obviously it came out that it was Schumacher had an incident. He had the only piece of video, contributed through us because we are top of mind across Europe, and as we plan to be in other parts of the world.
Sure.
And that was then distributed globally, and that individual generated about €50,000 in the first 48 hours for himself, and that continues to sell.
Yeah.
And there are other examples like that. Yeah, that's obviously at the higher end.
Yeah.
We want to see that to be the norm,
sure,
rather than the exception.
Yeah.
I think you've got other things that run-of-the-mill photos that are $20, $100 sales, and then thousands of them.
I mean, in a way, it becomes like a stock library as well for the photos.
Absolutely, we have over 2 million pieces of content in our library that are available for sale, and we see that the breaking news mix versus the stock mix is changing. Obviously, the breaking news still sells the most, but there is an increasing revenue source from our stock library, which is great. And then for the contributor, they're not selling it once; they're selling it multiple times all around the world.
It's that whole validation of the long tail content.
Correct.
Yeah, which has been around for a long time and which has been well and truly validated.
You're absolutely right. It's not a new phenomenon, but it's one that works.
Now, one of your, I guess, competitors would have been File Mobile, but you've acquired them. So, what does that mean for NewZulu?
Look, in a way, they were a competitor. They also operated in a different space. The opportunity of acquiring File Mobile is absolutely fantastic. It gives us an immediate footprint in North America, which is
huge.
One of the largest, or the largest territory and media space in the world. So they power Fox News Report, CBC, Your Take, USA Today, and hundreds of others in the media space. But then also a big benefit for us is that it opens up our opportunity because they also look after brands and advertisers and travel organisations. Anyone who wants to engage with audiences, capture content, manage that content, distribute it, monetize it perhaps, but also amplify it, we're able to do that. So they bring some good tech, some great people, and so we're in the process now of acquiring that. So there's a capital raising happening at the moment.
Yes,
so,
which is great. Well, I mean, it just expands NewZulu.
Oh, for sure.
And it gives it new capabilities.
Our first conversations with organisations here was, they were news and media organisations, and we were having a conversation about media, but now we can go to the same organisation and have 4 or 5 different conversations because we can now say, hey, listen, on your marketing department, you've got, your own campaigns that you want to run. You want to attract advertisers. How can you add value to your advertisers? Well, you can use our platform now to actually deliver on that.
Sure. And so, are there any competitors, or is it just paparazzi? Or
oh, look, no, there are other organisations that sort of play in this space. What I would say, and people have asked me this before, what I would say, there's probably no like-for-like competitor. And the reason I say that is that no one's got the full gamut of what we do, all right, and of what we offer in terms of product mix and technology, but also the fact, and no one's, and another key point is that our distribution through media partners, no one's got the AAPs, the AFPs, and no one will. They will. At the moment, a lot of the competitors will. It's a phone call and trying to sell to media directly. It's very labour intensive. The scalability and the ease of distribution isn't there. So we've ensured that because we believe very strongly in providing something back to the contributors, and that get published, get paid is not just a throwaway line. We actually mean it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you were saying before that you actually have some of your editorial staff within some of these media organisations.
So generally, our relationship with the media organisations like AAP here, and Canadian Press and PA and AFP, part of that relationship is that we generally do co-locate in their newsroom, and there are benefits for that. We know what they're covering, they know what we can cover.
Yep.
We can cover alternatives or any gaps perhaps, but it's also just being in that newsroom. And so, a recent example of us working very well with the traditional media and AAP in that sense was, unfortunately, the Roselle tragedy, the fire. One of our contributors had the first videos and photos, right? And AAP has used that at a recent global conference as a great case study of how working with user-generated providers such as ourselves and a traditional media then coming in, because it takes time to mobilise the troops coming in, and that worked very well. And they've used that, that amongst and a few others as a great case point of how we can work together.
Does the app have something where it says to people, hey, if you happen to be in Roselle or somewhere, please get some content for us? Or...
So we have news call functionality. So if there is something breaking, so that Roselle or the shark attack down at Bondi, we can
broadcast.
We can broadcast to people, and also what we can also see is geolocation is where people are, and actually send out little notifications on an individual basis. Say, hey, listen, you're 10 metres away or 100 metres away, get down to Bondi and start taking photos. And with our new live video streaming,
I was going to say, what's the deal there with the AAP?
So with the live video capabilities, which we're launching early in the new year, same thing. You'll be having news call go down there. You'll be able to turn on your mobile device
and stream live,
and live stream back into broadcast or web or wherever the clients that pick that up choose to broadcast that. It'll be live streaming, and it's validated, so anyone can, well, again, not anyone, there is live streaming capabilities, but it's the validation and it's cleaned. So from a broadcast perspective, we're ensuring that there are no hiccups there and no profanity, nudity and other bits and pieces get through. And so as we speak, we're actually setting up all the gear at AAP Newsroom. We've got a couple of people from overseas here setting up all the gear, and we'll be road testing that and launching early in the new year. It's very exciting.
Now, one of the things that I was told by a friend is this new movie called Nghtcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal, and we were just watching the trailer before we did this interview. And in this movie, it appears, and I haven't seen the movie yet, but Jake Gyllenhaal is this guy looking for a job, and then he wants to, he sees a paparazzi getting some shots, and he realises, hey, I can make money in this. And it almost seems like he's acting out part of NewZulu's business plan, except he's doing it for himself, and he's obviously not putting together this whole content engine. He seems to be doing it himself. And there seems to be hints in the trailer that maybe he's trying to manufacture the news, or he's getting so close to the story that he's part of the story. And there's one scene where he's being interviewed by the police, and the police are saying to him, hey, if you're withholding parts of the story, then maybe we can, tag you for murder. And so it starts, obviously the trailer's taking a dark turn, and I'm yet to see the movie, but it was just fascinating that I had this interview coming up, and Hollywood just happens to have this movie about a guy getting user-generated content, his own, but he's twisting it. So, or he may be twisting things so that, he's manufacturing the news. So the part of the question is, what are the guidelines that you give to the news gatherers out there to say, hey, please don't manufacture anything, please don't, become part of the story in a way that could endanger you?
Well, absolutely. We are a serious player in the news gathering process and media landscape. We are, and the media landscape is changing. It's disrupted, and by virtue of technology with mobile phones, anyone who has a story can share that story through us and get paid for it as well. Okay, so that's the first bit I'll say. The second bit I'll say is that part of our validation process, even if someone wants to manufacture a story, we'll catch it, and it won't get published through the media organisation. And that is our promise to our media partners, is that we've got robust processes and technology to be able to ensure that you're not going to get rubbish. Whereas opposed if they were to do hashtags or something else from social media, there's no guarantees unless you've got a moderator. Right?
And of course, with social media, with the siege yesterday, there were all sorts of rumours flying and incorrect information.
And you need to be responsible. And so we had some stuff that we were tossing up whether we release it or not. Even back to the Malaysian was it the first one or the second one? Where it went down, we had information that we didn't release because we weren't sure about it. Other media organisations who are more established did release it, and it all proved to be
legit or correct.
Oh, well, it actually wasn't legit, even though there was compelling evidence.
Yeah.
But we didn't release that. So we are very cautious. Again, the other benefit of being co-located with a news organizer, we can lean on those guys and go, hey guys,
what do you think?
What do you think?
Yeah.
So that also helps. So we've got our own judgment, we've got our own processes, but we can also lean on our partners to say, can you help us?
Yeah, where do you think this whole industry will be in 12 months or the next 5 years?
Look, we're already seeing changes. If you go back to the Arab Springs, again, I don't know if you're aware of this, but 80% of the content coming out of the Arab Spring situation was user generated.
Yeah, it was all off Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah, it was all user generated. So that gives an opportunity, gives you a sign of where it's going, and it's only going to get bigger and bigger. I mean, we're already seeing that. But there's also danger there, going, about the validity of it and the veracity. And then with any sort of new thing, there's always an excitement about it. But then how do you organise it? How do you manage it? And ensure that it's professional? And that's part of what we're offering, is that the technology and the approach is, yes, we're utilising technology to allow greater flexibility. And if whoever's got a phone is now able to share that story and contribute that content. And we've got the technology to ensure that it's actually legit and these things don't fall through the cracks.
We mentioned the Siege, we mentioned the Roselle and the Sharks, and of course Schumacher. Any other big Australian things that you can remember that have been successful?
Well, as I said, we're still early days here in Australia, and there's probably more case studies from overseas. But so our biggest claim to fame was the John Galliano anti-Semitic rant.
Right,
So
I remember that.
That came through one of our contributors in Paris as well.
Yeah.
And that gentleman, I think he's still counting his money, but it was in six figures in terms of the return to him.
Yeah.
And so there are those great stories. Again, another example from Europe, if I may, is that a gentleman had just downloaded the app, had heard about it, was walking down the street and saw this guy getting bashed. It was a fascist sort of bashing, and took photos and videos, and that was on the front page of the leading newspapers in Paris. No one was there, right? He happened to be there, and that is the beauty of it, is that you don't know when a story is going to happen, and so if you're armed and ready, because it's easy now, you got a phone, everyone's got a phone, you take that, and we've got an easy path to contribute that content.
In the pre-internet era, it was the Larry David or Larry King or whoever it was. There was a guy in LA. He was, the black guy who was getting bashed up by the cops and being done by a video camera. But of course, everyone's got a video camera now on their phone.
And the quality of it, they're improving.
Yeah,
as you
HD,
know,
it's stunning.
It's amazing quality.
We just have to train people to hold their phone horizontally and not vertically.
Yeah. Well, there are challenges there. You're right. Yeah. Absolutely. We have those challenges and have to switch things around and turn them upside down and whatever. But that's part of the process, and as part of education, what we've done overseas and we will start doing here as we grow that community is actually getting some of that community to come in and provide them tips and training, and that's a big point of difference for us. Is that, and we've seen that and heard feedback from contributors overseas saying what they like about NewZulu is that we're personable, approachable, and we give back. So locally, we've sponsored the Freelancer Award, right? Because we believe in the industry and believe that we should be supporting the industry, and so we're giving not just Joe and Jane public, but also freelancers, professionals who have got years and years of skills to continue their craft.
I mean, just one thing that pops into my mind before I ask you the final question is that I remember seeing some sort of cartoons, something's happening to somebody, and everyone's there with their camera filming it. And I guess there needs to come a point where someone filming it goes, well, hang on, should I help this person? Or do I just stand back and film it? I mean, if you go in and help them, you're injecting yourself into the story and you might miss the story. But I guess this is a moral question people have to ask themselves. And
I think there's judgment there, and also I suppose where the training comes into it, and some guidance about ultimately we're all humans and we should cast best judgment and in terms of our approach to that. But we definitely don't encourage people putting themselves in dangerous situations. And again, if they happen to find themselves in that situation and they are then able to take photos and images, and then that's what they do, right? And we can help them there. But
so any final messages for ITY readers and also for current NewZulu users and potential ones?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, get published, get paid. So download the app. Everyone's got a story. So what I'll say is go to the app stores and Google Play Store, download the app, register yourself, and give us a go. And listen, we are getting bigger and bigger. And as we grow that community, there's a range of different extensions to what we're doing. So we're about to launch and announce a few different things around the broader creative community, where brands and agencies can pitch their ideas and we can fulfil that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.